Well, hello and welcome to PM Express. It's that time of the evening. By now, you should be, sat back, relaxed, and waiting for today's topic. And indeed, is one of the most important things that this country should ever discuss. Well, on the 5th of October was National Teachers Day, the most important of all professions in Ghana, if not the whole world. And you can always quote me that I said, any society is equal to the value you place on its teachers, whether you like it or not. Whatever value you place on your teachers, that's exactly what the society is. So if you devalue your teachers, you have a devalued society. If you raise the teachers, you have a raised society. And so here we are, and the debate continues. Teachers' conditions are still, not perfect. There's another debate to say, look, why don't we make the Teachers' Day, a national holiday? Another debate. But folks, since it's Teachers' Day, I think we need to talk about free SHS, same amount of teachers, not increased salary, but double the amount of students. Is it going to affect quality while we are thinking of National Teachers' Day? So while we're congratulating them for doing a yeoman's job, we also need to go and find out how it is they can cope with what they have at hand. My name is Nana Ansakwa, Chief of the Little Republic of Akwemu Edumasa, and your favorite TV show host. When I come back, I have two dynamic teachers in the house. Don't move.
Yes, the teachers' rewards are in heaven, but all the same, you should see it physically.
But you want to see it on earth before you go to heaven?
You want to see it on earth, because you can't go to the market and tell the woman that, please give me this, God will pay you. It should reflect in the pocket.
You have, before getting to heaven, because maybe not everybody will make it to heaven. Yeah. Well, I don't know what will happen in hell anyway. I'm a Christian. I believe I'll make it to heaven, so I'll get mine in heaven, but I need to get some here before going to heaven. So.
We have so many children from so many backgrounds, and that is the number one challenge that most of the times we have. These children have been raised from so many homes, and then they come here, and you as a teacher have to be able to psychologically manage these children in such a way that at the end of the day, each and every one of them feels comfortable, well served before leaving this place. Yes.
You believe in that?
Yeah, of course it is.
That your reward is not in?
Of course.
It's in heaven?
Of course it is.
But I'm sure you be.
These children are kind of angels. Okay. And so whatever they tell you, yeah, it works. So it's in heaven. We all go there and get it.
How do you feel as a teacher with all your students saying they want to be doctors and police officers, not mentioning teacher?
I'm happy. Some of us, when we were kids, we also said we will become doctors and so on. Okay. But we find ourselves here as teachers. So maybe gradually if they go.
And they adorable, huh? And they adorable, all those little princesses there. And if we are going to leave them for a whole day, in the hands of an individual called a teacher, you better make sure that teacher has got something worth to impact. And well, with me in the studio, I have, sitting directly next to me is Stephen Desu, not a stranger to the show, convener of the Innovative Teachers Association. Stephen, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Nana.
Convener, right?
I'm the prime servant of Innovative
Prime servant of Innovative Teachers Association. And then I have Angel Kabonu, Vice President NAGRAT. And I must say, both the teachers have lived to their standard. They've had a major sacrifice today. Angel cancelled so many things to come. And Stephen rushed from Mankasim to the show. So both teachers are definitely a calling teachers. These are not paycheck teachers. These are teachers by calling for the sacrifice they've done today. I'll start with Vice President Angel. Teachers' Day, still significant?
Yes, it is. It's a global celebration, actually. The Education International, which is the international umbrella body of teacher unions, fought all the years through UNESCO to have this day instituted by the United Nations. So every year it is the Education International organization that gives the theme for the Teachers' Day. And this year we have Teaching in Freedom, Empowering Teachers. That is the theme for this year. And it's celebrated worldwide. The mode of celebration varies from one country to the other. In our case, we have instituted the Teachers' Day celebration to identify teachers who have excelled and award those teachers, as happened yesterday in Koforidua. So you have different modes of celebration, different ways. Of some schools, some countries, they stay in school and they engage the students and parents and community and so on and so forth to commemorate the day. So that is what actually the day is about.
Okay. Let me come to Stephen.
Yeah.
What's your view?
Well, for me, the day is relevant. But as to what we do in Ghana is what some of us are questioning in terms of giving award to include best teachers. Because that tag of best teacher is very difficult to determine. We have about 200,000 teachers in the classroom. How do you determine the best teacher? What criteria are they using? So for us, we think that we can celebrate the Teachers' Day without giving teachers an award, any teacher award. If you want to motivate teachers, the best way is to deal with the arrest issue, that is spending, and not to call some few teachers and give them something that, you know, will even make them leave their classroom. Because really, if they compare what they've gotten yesterday as compared to what they will get every month, it's better they leave their classroom and go and pursue other things. So it is not motivating teachers in any way. The Best Teachers Award, it's a pretentious exercise.
You don't think it's gingering other teachers to say, look,
there's not going
next
to be.
year I want to win?
No. It's a pretentious exercise by government. When I say government, I don't mean this particular government. To deceive teachers that, oh, we care about you, but the reality is that there's nothing happening. That's the reality on the ground. Because if you really care about teachers, first of all, you care about the conditions of service as to whether the teachers are getting the tools to work with. ICT and the rest. You are telling the teacher to go into ICT, how to type. There are no computers in the school. Your reporter went to in Chumuru, Water region, other part of Water region, and did the report on the state of the schools there and the number of teachers that are needed there. As we speak, nearly 20 teachers have been, out of the colleges of education, but yet they have not been posted. And yet these schools need about 500 teachers in one district. So when are they going to, posted into a classroom for them to take that, exercise of teaching? So for some of us, what we are saying is this: better resource the teachers and pay them well, and forget about Best Teachers Award. It motivates nobody. Nobody walks into a classroom with the aim that I'm teaching well, and then next year I'm going to get a Best Teacher Award. No, nobody does that. Our calling is not about getting an award for what we do. Our calling is to deliver, and the employer's responsibility, as in the Labour Act, is clear. Award is not part of it. Doctors are not giving an award for the work they do. Do you have best nurses award? Do you have best doctors award? So why should it be teachers? And we've been crying since, and the quality of delivery has not changed anyway. So this whole idea of best teachers award has been defeated constantly over the years based on the things that we've been seeing. So for me, it's irrelevant. We are better off doing things that teachers want for all the teachers and not some few teachers that you are awarding them. No. It's much ado about nothing.
The cancellation of the Best Teachers Award will not automatically bring to the fore the challenges that my brother is talking about. And also the fact that Best Teacher Award is celebrated also does not mean that government will renege on the other core responsibilities that ought to function. So we identify the fact that we have challenges. We identify the fact that we do not have teaching learning materials in the schools. But a simply cancellation of a Best Teacher Award Day does not automatically bring on board all those challenges. I think that we can call for government or the state to perform its responsibility to the schools, to the teachers. If there are arrears, government should be called upon to pay those arrears. If there are no teachers in Inchumuru, like my brother is talking about, of course, it is the fundamental responsibility of the Ghana Education Service to post teachers to those schools. But whilst we are at that, it also does not mean that maybe for example, in 2018, when government announces that henceforth we've cancelled Best Teacher Award celebration, it was not automatically send those teachers to Nchumuru. So we should rather separate and make the call that institutions should play their primary responsibility, behove on them by the dictates of their establishment to provide these needs to those schools. Now, sometimes, for example, the award system that we have in our schools, that we write an exam and then we say a student got 8 A's and a student got 2 B's and so on and so forth. It does not mean necessarily that the student who got 8 A's is the best student or is the most intelligent student. Maybe that student is the best in taking instruction at that particular time and performed it according to the questions that were demanded of him or her in the exam. But we all know through history that our best people in society are not necessarily those who had first class, are not necessarily those who had the 8 A's, but that those who take advantage of the provisions of society and change that provision of society to their wherewithal and how best society can perform. So that is where I'm coming from. That yes, those issues my brother mentioned should be addressed, and indeed they ought to be addressed, but they will not automatically be addressed just because Best Teacher Award is taken away.
Angela, let me stay with you. I don't know even if it's a fair question, but I mean, can the nation get to a point where, you know, a teacher's salary is not an issue? It becomes automatic. Once they teach, they will get their pay. So that's the least of the teacher's problem as to whether I'll get a chalk or. So the teacher's problem is, look, how do I mold this child in front of me? Not how am I going to pay for my tomatoes? How am I going to pay for my electric bill? You know, is it impossible, or I don't know?
It is not impossible. We have not set our minds to it as a people. In fact, the values of our society is shifted over the years. The values of our society is shifted from who a good man is to who is having more money. So once that value shifts, you realize that regardless of the source of your wealth, regardless of what you did to make the money and so on and so forth, society do not mind. Society showers praises, identifies you, recognizes you just because of what you have and what people can benefit from you. So we've lost that value, which I think is the authentic African value. We've lost it all over the years, and indeed many countries have lost it. When you talk to a teacher in the USA or in Finland, they will say, I'm teaching because I think I'm adding to make a change. You get it? So, because his concentration is not on his income, because it is paid, and it is paid timeously. His pension is assured. Europe is one place where people struggle to go on pension, and the government begins every time increases the pension age because of pension payment obligations. And in Africa, we are in a situation where people extend their years by falsifying documents just because pension is a certain death.
The disaster.
As we have it. But the European teacher is not really thinking about that, because he knows that his pension is guaranteed and his pension is protected. So I should work hard right now and I'll enjoy my pension. The teacher knows that I am being paid this amount of money and it is in the account. The teacher knows that when he or she is employed today, tomorrow, he will be paid. So those are not his problems. When you look at the welfare department of unions in England and in France that I have critically looked at, they do not think about the things that we think about here. They are rather looking at certain tertiary health delivery that can be made available and made available timeously. So we need to set our minds to it and create values in our society that people who are contributing. Nana, excuse me to just put the camera on you a bit. The work you are doing in Edumaza, by way of improving teaching and learning in the school, in your community, where have it been mentioned before? In official circles. Even at yesterday's Best Teacher Awards, did anybody mention your school in Edumaza? I know because of my interaction with you. I know the percentage of reading ability of the children in Edumasa and where you have brought them as we speak by bringing people to give in-service training to the teachers in those schools. So today you get to the community, about 80-something% of the children can read, and it started from about 46% to 80-something%. Who is mentioning that in any governmental or state circles? Okay, so we do not look out for those who are making change, because if you are touted on the rooftops, it incites a lot of chiefs within smaller communities to recognize the fact that they can also make some contribution towards the enhancement and improvement of schools within their communities. So we are shifting from these values and putting our eyes on issues that actually do not even change society for long-term benefit. That is where the problem is in this country.
Steve, I mean,
yes, Nana.
Could it be that, look, the nation, quote and unquote, is broke and there's just way too many teachers?
The nation is not broke. We have money, but the priority is wrong. So that's why we are where we are. If the priority is right and education is taken as the most serious, aspect of our lives, there will be money going in there. You understand my point? Everywhere a nation has taken a decision that this area is important for the whole nation, and so we have to inject a lot of, investment there. Of course, it can be done, but how can it be done when the public officials who ought to do these things have taken themselves out of the basic school education? Because as we speak now, it is very difficult to see a minister or even a DC's child in a public school in Ghana. The very people who are supposed to solve the problem have elevated themselves above the problem they ought to solve. So how do they solve the problem? So these are the issues. So if our priority is right, as in solving the issues of education in Ghana, it will go. It will take time, but it will go. If the government begins to show good faith in terms of salary issues and all, you don't need to be told that arrears are due, so pay. No, you don't need to be told. It should be something like, something that you ought to know. You don't need a reminder by a trade union that, employer, please, you've not paid arrears, so go and pay. You ought to know. You don't need anyone to come and give you a reminder that give chalk or computers to some schools, or the structure is dilapidated, so you have to pull down a new one raised up. You don't need to be told. So if our priority is right as a nation, look, when the Jubilee Oil Fields court case came about, okay, the whole idea here was that we may lose the case and lose our oil money. You understand my point? So the question is, what if we lost? Does it mean we lost everything? I said no. If you lost the case in Germany, everything was not lost, because as I was coming, I saw a lot of oil on our street selling all sorts of things. They are the ones who ought to change, who must come and change the nation. And I keep repeating this. No nation has ever developed by deploying its human resource in their prime on the street to go and sell pure water. No. Or bread. Or anything. You understand my point? So if the priority is right, and we know, because look, public officials, the politicians that you and I know, they are well traveled, they are well read, they are well schooled. So I'm not the one to come and tell them what they ought to do. They know it. So what is stopping them from doing what they have to do to solve the problem that all of us are caught up in? And then what it comes up to, leadership. What is the priority of leadership? The priority of leadership in the country is what determines the direction of the country. So like Lee Kuan Yew did in Singapore, he directed the country that without human resource development, anyway, it's also natural resource. Human beings are also natural resource. Okay? When you are developing human beings, you are doing natural resource development. So you cannot say Singapore does not have any natural. No, they have human beings there. That's what they have used, and that's what they have used to create that kind of wealth in the country, and now they are benefiting from it. We can do same here in Ghana. You have the people here in Ghana, but in the process of developing the human resource, there we have the problem with education. And so if we don't fix our educational system, there's no way we are going to solve our development needs of the country. And look, we talk about quality education all the time. Quality. Who defines the quality? If I learn how to, make, let's say, a typewriter, the best typewriter in the world, who is going to use that typewriter? Because nobody uses typewriter right now. It's obsolete. Nobody uses that. So we talk about relevant education, not quality education. Whose quality education is it? Because you see, what the world is moving, it's talking about coding, artificial intelligence. How do we relate to those things with the things we are doing in our schools? If we are not matching up, all the countries are moving, you know, at a faster pace, and we are not even moving at all. But if you are not moving and others are moving, you are rather going back without necessarily making a movement.
Let me bring Angela in here. Because Angela, I was going to hit you with quality, but now I think it's been obsolete. Now I have to hit you with relevance.
Yes.
You know, now we have an influx free education, which I'm all for free education. But everybody seems to think is an end, and I'm a bit concerned. It's like, oh, thank God, free education, but oh, thank God, we have just begun. The stats are showing that, you know, there's more people who are supposed to be in JSS who don't go. Yeah. Approximately about 50% are not in JSS. Yeah. So we saw free education. Now, my worry is if we have everybody in JSS going to JSS, that means we have about 700,000 people who should have been coming into SS. Then, number one, while we are in there, are we making sure they are relevant for today's society?
Yeah, very I don't want to say a good question, relevant question. Yeah, the issue is this, that any intervention by state that will encourage as many children as possible to be in school is welcome as an educationist. But whilst we are at it, it looks as if the fanfare is beginning to take the better part of us. And I look at the free education euphoria and I look back at the basic school situation. Yeah. And I realize that we are beginning to concentrate on the midsection of education without looking at the foundation of our education, which is from the kindergarten to the JSS 3 situation. And I believe that, like the Bible says, teach a child the way he should go and he will never grow to depart from it. That we will need to go back and look at the situation in our basic schools and see whether we cannot strengthen the foundations of our education. And when we do, we propel a certain system that will reach the top. Now, free education, a lot more people go to school, and it is good, because then at on a critical age, you take a lot of children from the streets. So it is good. But within the next 2.5 to 3 years, all these children will be coming out. They'll be coming out, and then where do they go? The first option available is to apply to go for a tertiary education. Now, the tertiary education, the people who hitherto could not pay for secondary school education are now going to be ready to go to tertiary education, where fees are quadruple that of the secondary school. So you create, there ought to be some intervention of a sort, because you've helped them in the secondary school, which is good, but now they need greater help for tertiary, which I do not know how we're going to solve that as a nation. Now, apart from that also, what type of programs do we run in our tertiary institutions that will make the person ready for the world of work or for world of self-employment? The type of tertiary education, so when you go to University of Ghana or any other university and you look at the humanities, when people come out of the humanities and the social sciences, are they ready to be innovative? Are they ready to produce anything? Are they ready to employ themselves? Have we ever even looked at the education system holistically and see whether we are even producing what we need, relevance, what we actually need? Today, Nana, as I said privately with you, if you want someone to tile this whole building, I'm sure you will be getting about 70% of the tilers coming from our neighboring country, Togo. They be Togolese. Yeah. When you want someone to put this plaster of Paris in your building,